Welcome back. Today I am going to attempt to solve some puzzles on chess.com. If you're new here, I'm not a titled player or a chess coach or an expert like many of the other YouTubers. I'm just a random person trying to get better at chess. One of the ways that I do that is try to solve puzzles, and while I do, I talk through my thought processes, which may or may not help you. If you see something that I miss, that I obviously miss because of the things that I talk about, feel free to leave them in the comments and help me out. In this situation, I'm playing with the black pieces. And again, I'm distracted by the fact that my avatar looks very fuzzy and low res. I uploaded a pretty high resolution image. I'm not sure why it looks so bad there. Okay, the first thing that I look for is checks. I have a check here, but it looks like the knight would just capture. I have a check here, but it looks like the king could just take my queen in that event. I do not have any other checks with the queen, just those two. My rook can check on c7, and they can't block that. The king can't go there. It can't go there because of my queen. Okay, so if I check on c7 with my rook, the king only has two choices. And if it goes to e8, then I could check with my queen on d7, and it would have to go over one. So let's say I check here and it goes there in the first place, then that's mate, right? I'm going to check on c7. I don't see what they can do about it. Well, that was right. Oh, and they did go all the way over. So, oh no, this is not mate because the rook can block. Okay. Well, I messed up on that idea. I could check here, I could check here. Let's see. Well, if I check here, then the king can move back over. But yeah, if I check here, they block with the rook. Oh no, if I check on d8, then the knight captures. Okay. Wait, what did I say before? If they had gone to e8, I would have had this check, which would have forced the king over. And because of where my queen was then, it could come over this way. Okay, so that's where I would have had the mate eventually then. So if I check here now, they could block with the rook, but I could just take it with the pawn, I guess. They could block with the queen and I could take that. Or they could move over and then I would have not mate there because the king could move again, but then I would have mate here. Okay, so I think I need to check on f1. I hope that's right. Oh, it was right, and they blocked with the rook. Well, I don't think I should take with my queen because they'll take back with their pawn. I think I should take with my pawn. But then they're not in check anymore. Can they do it? It's got to be that, right? I don't have, I do have another check. That leaves my queen kind of in the wind. If I check here and they move up this way, then I take the rook. But then their king is out. I think I'm going to take the rook. Oh, it's still going. Okay. Well, if I take that pawn, that will be a discovered check from my queen. So let's consider that. But then they could block with the knight. So I don't think I should take the knight because then they'll take back and my opponent then could take that pawn and they'll actually be a little bit ahead maybe. I don't know. And I'm not going to check here. I think I should check. I should take the pawn with check from my queen. They'll have to block with the knight. Then I'll check with my rook, leaving them some ways to get out this way. No. And I'll check with my rook. They would have to move this way or this way, I think. And then actually they could block with their queen at that point if they wanted to, but I think they would block with their knight at that point. Well, we're about to find out. That was right. Okay, but then what would they have done? Wait, that was my first puzzle in this video, and it says I'm unstoppable. I feel stoppable, but I want to click the analysis board because I'm not sure I understand. Okay, they should have played something else, but they played that instead to get out of check. Okay, they should have blocked with the queen, I think is what Stockfish had said. Rook to c7 was my best move. King to f8 looked like it was their best move, and queen to f1 was mine. Okay, their best move here by far was to block with the rook, and I definitely should have taken it with the pawn. If I had played rook to c8 check, they would have played king to f7 like I thought. I still would have taken the rook, but then they could have moved this pawn forward a step closer to promotion, and that would have been good for them, I guess, and that we would have been almost even. Okay, so I'm glad I took the rook. Okay, now here my opponent had several choices, but it does look like knight to e7 was the best one. And I'm definitely supposed to take with a pawn, check, and now they're not going to block with the knight. I thought they were going to block with the knight to f5. It says their best move is to block with the queen on f5. Okay, I thought they might try that, but what if they did? Am I supposed to take it? I am supposed to take it. And they're going to take back, and then I have a passed pawn. And what are they going to do? Come toward my rook? And then I'm going to play rook to c5. Really? Oh no, c5 is here. I was going to say that lets them fork my pieces. Okay. Yeah, attacking the knight, which needs to move now. I assume it's going to move to a place where it can attack my pawn from, or move here where it can get in front of my pawn. It doesn't matter because they can't stop it, apparently. Oh, I have 2 pawns. It says I can chase the knight further, or I could just start moving my other pawn and I'll be okay. Okay. The higher you get in the puzzle ratings, the less easy it is, or the harder it is for me anyway, to figure out what the point of the puzzle was. But I've got to learn these. I've got to be able to figure these out so that when I'm in games, I'll recognize these positions. This is not too far out of the opening. I've only got 2 pieces developed and only 2 pawns moved. Well, okay, I've moved that pawn. But we haven't gotten a lot done. My opponent has a piece all the way in here. They've just taken here. What am I supposed to do? I am playing with the black pieces. Okay, I can't take with my king. I can take with my knight, which kind of makes it just a free bishop, right? What else is there? I should look for checks first. That's the normal checklist for puzzles. So I do have a check with bishop capturing here on f2. King would not have to take, but it would have to do something. It could move out of check. If it moved out of check, well, because my bishop's under attack right now too. If I take this, I don't know if they're going to take that or not. I have no idea. If it does take, I don't really have a follow-up check, so I don't know what difference that would make. I don't think it's the check, and that's the only check. No, it's not. This is a check. Well, that would get this bishop out of danger, but what if they blocked that with this, guarded by their other bishop? Yeah, so I don't think, I think I should just take their bishop with my knight, which is a normal developmental move, right? Nothing else makes sense. It doesn't make sense to capture down here. It doesn't make sense to capture this knight, because then they'll take my queen with their pawn. Then what do I have? I'm going to take the bishop. Oh, okay. Well, then I should take that with this pawn, right? And take that with my king? Okay, well, I'm going to take back what I said on the previous puzzle. This one was incredibly simple. In fact, the only reason I took as long as I did on each one of those moves is because I thought it couldn't be that simple. You saw that very early on I said I would probably take that with my knight. But then I was like, what else is there? Because there has to be something else. But for a puzzle rated 1870, as this one is, maybe it shouldn't be rated that high. There is no theme listed. That's because I don't know what the theme would be called. Just capturing pieces when it makes sense to do so. I don't know. I gained a piece out of that is how, I came out ahead on material. The downside, of course, is that you've damaged your pawn structure a little bit here. But I think the compensation for that is that you've freed a rook. And you've lost your right to castle, which is what this king move did. But you went out, you're up a full piece. And of course, you can always move this rook over and put your king back there. And that's a 2-move castle instead of a 1-move castle. So I think it works out. Anyway, next puzzle. I do have a couple of checks. One is queen to h7, protected by my knight, which would force the king over 1. I kind of like that, because then I can check with this rook on d8. If their queen took, then I would have mate here with my queen. But let's see, if I checked there, their only legal move is to move over, and I checked here. What if they didn't take with their queen? What if they came up with their king? Because they could. Then what would I do? Maybe I should check there first. That's what it is. Yeah, I should check there first, because they can't move here, here, or here, or here right now. They would have to take with the queen. Then I check with my queen on h7, and then that's mate. I think that's got to be it. I almost mouse slipped that. You saw that. I don't know if you saw it or not, but I felt like I was just about to release it there, and fortunately it landed in the right spot. I was very fortunate there that I didn't, because I felt it. I felt in my hand my mouse about to release the queen 1 square in the wrong place. And you know what, though? I don't think it would have, because that wasn't a legal move. There was a pawn here. It had to release there. I think if I had tried to release it there, it wouldn't have let me, because it wasn't a legal move. Maybe. Okay, well, we did get that. Oh, we got 10 points. Very nice. I'm playing with the black pieces, and I don't feel like I have an advantage here, but in puzzles, you tend to have an advantage depending on whatever the opponent's last move was. I think my advantage here is that my opponent has walked themselves into a checkmate. I think if I check with the bishop on e1, that hits all these squares, and it's a check. My pawn cuts off those squares, and my king cuts off this one and this one. That's just checkmate. And that's rated 1824. So whoever commented a few days ago and said that there are no more checkmates in one at the higher ratings of puzzles, there actually are a few. I don't know how easy that's supposed to be, but it says it's rated 1824. I am playing with the white pieces. Do I have any checks? I actually do have a check over here. I don't think that's very good. Their king would capture it. I have a check right here, which They have 2 pieces that could capture there. That's not a check. I really don't know. Are there any captures other than this pawn? I don't think, no, those are the only 2 possible captures in this position. There are some threats. For example, I could threaten their queen, but I have a feeling their queen's about to move anyway. And if my rook were there, then my queen couldn't see their queen and they would be pointing at this pawn. So I don't think threatening the queen there is a good idea. Maybe threatening the queen here is a good idea. Then where's it going to go? But maybe then, no, it wouldn't come here. Well, it can't go there, can it? But maybe it would go here. I don't know why. My queen's guarding that pawn and my king's guarding those 2 spots. But they might be on their way to breaking through here. I don't know. I feel like threatening the queen is probably not the answer in this puzzle. There's several different ways that I could do it, but it's probably not good. I mean, I could threaten the queen here and that just loses a rook. But I have a feeling it has to do with this pawn. I have 3 pieces aimed at that pawn. My opponent has 1, 2, 3 pieces also aimed at that pawn. Do I have advantages that they don't have? One is that if I take with the rook, for example, and they took with their rook, I don't have to keep taking. I could check. And then they would basically have to block with that one. I mean, they could block with one of their other 2 pieces as well, but I would just take them and turn it. They would have to block with that one, and then I would take it. But I would have just gotten a rook and a pawn for a rook, and then they would move their king here, and then I could come back and check, and they would have to move that pawn up, and then that would be mate. But what if it didn't play out like that? What if they didn't take with their other rook? What if they took with their queen? If they took with their queen, then I would take their queen, and they would take my other rook, so I would have gotten a rook. No, I would have gotten a pawn and a queen for 2 rooks, and I could still check at that point. They could block with their rook, but then I could check here and win this rook. Maybe. But that's not a check. That's the problem. If I take with the queen first, it's a check. But then they're definitely going to take with their queen, and I would take with my rook. It's not a check, but they would probably take with their rook. And then I would check, and then I'm a piece behind. Okay, so what if they play besides capturing the rook if I take here? Well, because I think I'm threatening mate. That's the problem with this move, is it threatens mate. So that's a capture, not a check, but it is a capture and a threat. What do they do in that situation? Because they can't check me. They do not have a check in this position. I'm going to try rook captures f7. It might be wrong. Sometimes I am wrong because I failed to see something, but that's what I'm going to try here. It looks better than my other options. They did take with the queen. I think I have to take it with the rook, like I said. If I take with my queen and they take here and then I check, they just block with their rook and then they're up a rook, right? They're up a rook right now. So I think I have to take with my rook. I assume they'll take back. Then I'll check, they'll block, then I'll check, and they'll block, and I'll take this. So far, so good. Oh, they went there. Well, then either way, it's a fork with this rook. Okay, pretty sure. That was a lot of moves. Was that like 5 or 6 moves? And that puzzle's rated over 2,000. And the pass rate is less than 50%. So I feel pretty good about that. The theme was pin. I don't know about pin. Rooks on the 7th. My rooks were on the 7th. Okay, I'm sure about that. 20 minutes on my end, hopefully less on your end due to the magic of editing. So I can fit in at least a couple of more puzzles depending on how long it takes me. As always, let's look for checks first. I do have 1 check here. I think that's the only check that I have. Well, because I just checked them this way. And they couldn't take back because their knight was pinned, right? So they moved out that way, but that was a problem. They probably should have moved out a different way. I mean, this knight is free. I could just take it now. But then do they have something on me? Well, they don't have an immediate check on me, so why wouldn't I just take the knight now? Or why wouldn't I just take it with my knight, which threatens their queen and threatens another check over here? Wait, it's this, isn't it? Okay, I think it's bishop to h6 check first, because the knight's still hanging. The knight's still going to be there for the taking, and it's still going to be a threat on their queen when I take it. But right now, their king will not also be threatened by that move. If I check them first, their king only has 2 legal moves. They can't block, and the king can't go to those 2 squares because of my knight and my bishop, so it has to go to one of those 2 squares. So when I take the knight, it will be a fork. Well, that felt nice. Fork double attack, I like that. Okay, bishop pair. Well, I do have the bishop pair, but I don't know if that's the theme since I neglected to develop my other bishop and somehow my king got chased off the back rank. Well, I feel pretty good. gotten 6, I think, in this video, and it says I have 11 in a row, which means I must have gotten at least 5 in a row in the previous video. And I am in the 1900s. That also feels nice. Hopefully this will keep going. There have been a couple of these that I wasn't sure about. So fingers crossed, or whatever good luck phrase or charm you believe in. I personally don't believe in luck, but it is just a habit to say things like that. Let's see, do I have any checks? I do. I have a check down here on E8. I am playing with the white pieces, yes. But I think they would block by bringing their rook right back to where it just came from. I could just take their rook now. I don't know if that's good. I also am not sure about where their pieces are pretty, let's see, is that mate? No, it wouldn't be mate because I could capture here. Okay, never mind. I have that rook 2 different ways. Is one of those ways better than the other? Possibly. I think this way's better. Just putting that out there. Let's see, if I capture the rook with my knight on D1, what do they play? They're not going to check me here, I'm pretty sure. Their queen would be under threat, so they would want to move it, but I don't know where. They might move it here. No, because I would be threatening that square too. Never mind. They would probably move it here, which isn't really threatening the knight because my queen's still threatening the knight. But from there, they would be threatening mate. So if I took the rook with my knight, I think they would play queen to D2, which threatens mate over here because their knight is protecting G2. And then what would I do? I mean, I could check them, and they could block, take, they could take, and then we would each have a knight left. And we have the same number of pawns, but they have a passed pawn. There's nothing in front of that one. Okay. Well, the reason that I initially said I should probably take this with my knight was A, that it threatened their queen and forced their queen to move, and B, that my queen was still over here ready for this check. But it looks like they have a pretty good answer for that. So now I'm wondering if I shouldn't take with my queen. Do they have an answer for that? They do. See, I think in that case, then they could move here, threatening mate, and there's nothing I could do about it. Is there? Because I wouldn't want to like move right back here because their knight can guard it. Let's see. Take their rook. They slide into F2, threatening mate. I guess I could come back to G4, where I would be protecting that pawn. But oh, no, it doesn't matter. They would have mate right there. Okay, so it's better to take with the knight then. Or is it better to check first? I don't know. I'm going to take with the knight because those are really the only options. Taking with the queen, taking with the knight, or checking down here. And we already said checking down here results in them blocking with the rook, I think. That would be their only legal move at that point, would be to bring their rook back, and then I would have to move my queen, because my queen would be in danger from the rook, and I don't know where I would move it, so I think I should take the rook with the knight. I was so relieved when that was the right move, but they did exactly what I thought they would do, which is aiming for checkmate. Well, the only thing that I came up with when they did that would be to check. Because again, here, their only legal move would be to block. Wait, if they blocked, I don't have to trade queens. That's what I said earlier, isn't it? I would trade queens, and then we would have these 2 knights left down here. But they're here, their only legal move is to block that check, because their king can't get out of check. But then I could take this pawn with check. At that point, they could either block again with their queen or move over, but then I win their knight. I think that's it. Okay, yeah, I think it's taking this pawn and then winning their knight. And also protecting mine in the process. They did move over and I take their knight. I'm so happy I found that. No theme is listed. Again, I don't know what the theme is. And if you're curious, that puzzle is also rated over 2000. Okay, I've had a pretty good couple of puzzle videos. Thank you for coming along for the ride. And once again, if I've missed anything or said something incorrect, always feel free to help me out in the comments, because I want to get better going forward. I'm not that worried about being embarrassed right now. If there's something that I didn't know or didn't notice, I'm usually pretty easygoing about saying, oh my goodness, I didn't see that at all. Thank you for telling me, usually. Or if it was something that I did notice and just didn't say, I'll usually respond with that too. I try to be polite and friendly and always welcome. I always welcome advice and constructive criticism. Anything that'll help me get better at this. I'll see you next time.